Hello, Clash fans! Trample Damage coming at you today with From the Wake of Clan War League, where we finished in 3rd place. That is not the reason I'm talking to you today. The reason I'm talking to you today is because I had a good week in Clan War League. Between my 4 accounts, I ended up having 4 misses among the 28 attacks, which is a solid 85+% triple rate, which would, that's competitive. That's solid. And I'm using a new army composition. This is what I want to show you here. It is a Root Rider combination with a Royal Champion Spirit Walk to start, which is not shocking since that is one of the stronger attacks in the meta. I did pick this up from my clanmate, Mr. C, who is a pro player. He plays for Milliceme MMG. He's a fantastic attacker. So what I am going to do is show you some of the Clan War League attacks we had, including my one fail. And before we jump into that, I'm going to show you some of the video, or not the videos, oops, that's not what I'm... Probably gonna have to block that out. Let me go back to photos. I was sending him photos saying, hey, what about this? What do you think of this plan? And so that's from, I don't know, War 6, and this one was from War 4, and this was from War 3, and I don't have all the pictures because I sent him a lot of pictures, and he was kind enough to take his time looking through my plans. What I would like to do is show you, I'm going to save that one because things did not go according to plan. I'm going to start with this one. The base is against the clan Request and Leave. It's the clan that ended up taking the week. And I said, hey, I'm going to start with the Royal Champion here. The plan is to get these defenses out of the way. Then I will move to the second stage of the attack, which would be the Archer Queen, the Ice Golem, the Log Launcher coming in from the bottom, along with an Earthquake spell. And I opted to go with the Earthquake spell basically right here where the King is at. And then Root Riders into here, King on the outside to run around with his Snake Bracelet. Overgrowth spell, you do see here I asked him, where to overgrowth? You think the whole tower or the corner? And the idea was I didn't want to deal with the hook tower, so I wanted to overgrowth on the hook tower. And I'm going to probably, let me jump back over to the game. Let me jump back to the game here and let it reload. I like how succinctly he put one of the bits of dialogue when we were talking about the use of the overgrowth spell. He said, I like it to extend the Royal Champion's funnel, which I think is a really great way of describing exactly what we would like to do in some of these instances. So I was thinking, let me step back here. I can draw pictures here, carve out this portion of the base with the Royal Champion, and then using the overgrowth to get a hold of some of these defenses in here, you create a natural path for the rest of the troops to just continue kind of running around the outside here. So you saw the video that said what I was planning on doing with my attack, and I did exactly what I said, or the screenshot. So I started over here with the Royal Champion charge, and the idea for this is exactly what we'll sort of look through as we talk through a couple of these attacks. Carve out a portion of the base for some funneling with the Royal Champion, and when using the Log Launcher and the Queen, we're trying to sort of attack the base along one of the symmetrical diagonals. So when the base is somewhat, these diamond bases, I personally like to attack the diamond bases coming in behind the Fire Spitters, or if there are 2 Fire Spitters facing opposite directions, I try to get one of them with my Royal Champion or plan to overgrowth it when my overgrowth comes in. So my plan was get these buildings here, and I made my Royal Champion invisible, got some of these buildings. Let me speed along a little bit. I did use an invisibility spell here to redirect her, which is something I am recently practicing and finding some success with. Don't do it for the first time in war. Practice it outside of war. So I got these other buildings here, got the scatter shot down, which was most of the funnel that I was looking for, but I also did manage to pick off this builder hut before I scooped the Royal Champion back out of there. Ideally, you are going in near defenses where the Spirit Fox won't be too far back from the Royal Champion. That way it can't get targeted or nabbed by some X-bows. So we went ahead and pulled the Archer Queen back out of here. We're now going to put a single Ice Golem in to tank for the Archer Queen and the Log Launcher. Ideally, we get the Giant Arrow going through the base, and we are using the Giant Arrow and the action figure. That action figure is a massive tank. We're going to go Ice Golem, Archer Queen, trigger her ability, Log Launcher coming in shortly behind. We do have Sneezy on the Queen to help deal some more damage, tank some more stuff. Shortly after that, because I know now that my Root Riders are never really going to get this direction, I can start an Ice Golem in front of the Root Riders, which I was not using earlier in the week, but I have adopted this second Ice Golem to tank for the Root Riders. Then I am deploying the Root Riders along with some balloons and some healers, letting them get into the base. I am using the Grand Warden's Rage Gem and the Eternal Tome Barbarian King coming over here to attempt to move around the outside. I don't know actually if he went the way that I intended him to. We will keep a close eye on that. Because I'm not as good at funneling the Barbarian King as my clanmate Mr. C, I usually send in a pair of super barbs to help create that funnel to try and get him to go the other direction. I see Mr. C do this with a couple of the Valkyries that are in his army, and he's really good with it, but I'm not, so I continue to use this methodology. The nice thing here is the king did head the direction I wanted. Now, my Root Riders are coming in, my troops are coming in. I have yet to use my Grand Warden, and I messed up a little. I left this Ricochet Cannon uncovered by the Overgrowth spell. I meant to get that. That way all my troops would continue pushing this direction. Unfortunately, I did get a little bit of a split because of that Ricochet Cannon. However, it worked out okay for us as we are pushing through here. One thing to keep in mind, the Log Launcher will not deal damage to any of the buildings that are overgrowthed. So my Root Riders are chilling around the outside. My Royal Champion is in the heat of things there alongside my Archer Queen and the Giant. The Overgrowth spell is about to wear off, and you will notice I have not yet used my Grand Warden's Eternal Tome. That is something I have been doing very heavily since watching Mr. C attacking in the World's Qualifiers. These troops can take a lot of damage before you really have to use the Eternal Tome, and I've been meeting with a lot of success delaying the Eternal Tome until after the Overgrowth spell wears off. Now, at this point, I did already use my Royal Champion's ability, but she's carving some stuff up out there. Plenty of troops still alive. Root Riders doing okay coming out of that Town Hall. And presto, we got a triple with an extra invisibility spell, and I didn't use the poison. I've actually been very tempted to stop bringing a poison spell because there have been plenty of times where it just didn't feel like it was necessary for me. I'm going to show you what my attack was in the first war. In the first war, I attacked. I got a triple, and I did not love the way this worked out. One note, just keep an eye on where the Log Launcher is going to hit, because it's actually going to take all these wall pieces, but not get these to open the compartments up to the Yetis, so the Yetis basically run back outside. Same general idea that I applied here. Royal Champion charge is going to come in. I'll go in 2x speed because it's the same general gist, but the Royal Champion comes in on the outside here, and I did not get as much as I was expecting with this funnel. I thought she was going to come this direction, and instead she went over that way toward the multi-gear tower, which was not exactly what I wanted, but it worked, and then I scooped her out of there. But I did not get a very good funnel, right? It's not like ideal, but I did have mostly defenses coming this direction. I was a little worried about this spitter, but I thought, oh, no problem, my Log Launcher will take care of that. But unfortunately, what you will note here is, oh, and also, this is when I stopped using the skeleton spells, because I don't know how to use skeleton spells, and I always feel like I was forgetting them, I was deploying them late, I didn't know what to do with them, or I'd deploy them near something like a Flame Spinner, or a multi-target Inferno Tower or something. So Queen comes in, Log Launcher comes in, and what you will note about these walls, the Log Launcher is opening up. Oh, so the rest of the army came in, right? King is doing his thing, he's going to go that way. Root Riders, Balloons, and Healers came in. Don't send in the Valkyries until you have a clean path. Otherwise, they will run around the outside like they do here. So be careful. I'm so used to my old army composition that was a little bit different, where I would just send everybody in together because the funnel was sort of already created. But I need to be more patient with my Valkyries, which I am now learning. But you will see that my Log Launcher didn't get those walls, so when the Log Launcher pops, the Yetis, instead of going for, I was thinking they were going to get this Fire Spitter, and instead they just headed back outside to join the rest of the troops. And I do have a heal spell. That's one thing I did not mention. When I'm quoting Mr. C on this one, the heal spell is for the first poison tower, because most of the stronger bases right now that we're encountering involve 2 poison towers, so think about the first one as being for the first poison tower, and if not, then just think of it as being for some of the entry into the base when you start taking a lot of damage, because you don't want to have to use your Royal Champion's Eternal Tome, your Grand Warden's Eternal Tome just yet. So at this point in this attack, I was actually thinking, I'm toast, because this is not going well. I overgrowthed the Town Hall just to try and keep my troops pushing around the upper side so that we would continue circling, and then I thought, bang, Town Hall, now I should use my ability, and I thought, actually, I'm going to need to fight through that Fire Spitter, and I was channeling my inner Mr. C thinking, I can delay this Grand Warden's Eternal Tome. So I decided to delay it and see what would happen. And it worked out okay for me, because as they passed through here and got into more of the damage on the back end, I went ahead and used that ability. It kept me fairly safe through a lot of this damage. My Archer Queen did manage to pick off the scatter shot, allowing me to, this Fire Spitter, allowing me to get through the backside of the base, and I delivered a triple. But after the first 2 wars of tinkering with this with a couple of my accounts, I decided this is terrible. I should not be using this. skeleton spell because it was giving me a lot of trouble. So we're going to jump back over the photos. We showed you this one. I would like to now show you, this is the one that I messed up. Oh, poor trample damage. This one, I want to show you, this attack here. And I sent this very clearly, like, that's where I'm going to deploy the Royal Champion. I thought she'll take the Wizard Tower. She'll go for the air defense. She'll get the scatter. She'll get this. I'm in good shape. Going to be just fine. I sent it to Mr. C. He said, hey, that looks like a solid plan. And I was asking, I think the Royal Champion will do what I think she's going to do. And he said, yep. And I said, maybe there's Teslas outside here that would pull her. And if so, I can invisibility them. So that was the game plan. And let's jump back over to the war against RRR, which I think was War 6. It was War 6. And spoiler alert, I did get a triple. Also, spoiler alert, I got really nervous because things did not go the way that I intended to start this off. So I counted the tiles after the fact, and yes, it is indeed much closer to this bomb tower than it is to this air defense. So I was a little frustrated when after destroying this wizard tower, my Royal Champion headed over the bomb tower. I was like, no, that is not what I wanted. I thought, okay, that's fine. I'm outside the range of the town hall. Invis, I'll just like take something and then I'll redirect her toward this stuff here. But I should have covered the multi-gear tower because all that happened is she just kept going the wrong direction. And while this was happening, I was thinking, no, this is not what I wanted. This is not the funnel that I wanted, right? I wanted my Root Riders to come through here, all my defense-seeking troops to come through here and not care at all about any of this stuff. That was the game plan. But because I had a plan, I decided to go ahead and stick with it, even though I knew I was going to be eating some damage from the Fire Spitter and the Ricochet Cannon on the back end. So again, I do like to come in behind the Fire Spitters where possible. One of them was supposed to be down. Archer Queen, Log Launcher, and one of the things Mr. C did also say to me, as much as possible, you know, as soon as the Archer Queen has a shot, take it. That giant arrow is good for dealing damage in the base. The Earthquake spell, I was kind of hoping maybe I could get the Town Hall, the Clan Castle before the troops got there, but that didn't happen. So King comes in over here, he's doing his thing. All the rest of my troops have been deployed. Here come my Valkyries. I got a little bit of a good funnel there so that once that lab went down, they did follow the rest of the troops in. And I've got a hook tower causing problems, and I thought I don't want to deal with the hook tower, so I decided to overgrowth the hook tower. And this is where, again, I got a little bit of a split. The walls were, of course, being destroyed by the log launcher, and these Yetis actually managed to put in a decent bit of work over here, but the rest of my troops are kind of running around the outside here. My Archer Queen, and this is also where I thought I'm toast, I tried to invisibility her, and I was like, Invis! Boop, and the monolith got her through the invisibility because it was firing as she was becoming invisible, and I just, at this point, thought, I am so toast. This just sucks. And it turned out not to be that bad. I did bring in, I thought my super barbarians came in here on the backside to take out some of those perimeter buildings, keeping the rest of my troops pushing toward the inside. Royal Champion still had her ability, and it turned out to be a triple. So this is where I just constantly encourage people, like, plan ahead, have a plan, know what you think is going to happen, and then, of course, things may not go exactly according to plan, but as long as you have a plan, you will be in some decent shape. I do want to show you the one attack that went not well. Where did it go? It's this one. No, it's this one. No, it's this one. Here we go. So I was going to originally attack base 2, but Brian attacked it before I had a chance to flag it. I liked my plan. I didn't flag the base, though. Here was my goal. Royal Champion down here. We'll take care of this stuff. And you'll notice it kind of looks like some of these other bases I've been attacking. And I know what you're thinking. Triple damage. That sounds like you're going to be able to succeed on this one. And that's what I thought, too. But it didn't happen because I did a really terrible Royal Champion charge. And I just, again, you know, really what I should have done is drop my RC right by this gold mine, had her take out these 2 buildings, move up, take out this, and then start taking these out. And for some reason, when I dropped my Royal Champion, instead of just having the invisibility spell cover her in front of the air defense, I was like, yeah, I'm going to drop this on the air defense. So then she moved her feet pretty far over to the side here, which means that unfortunately, after she took out the multi-archer tower, she took out the air defense, and then, yes, she headed off to the far corner to attack the archer tower, and I was like, she's coming up here to get the scatter shot. So I put my invis here, which did nothing, so I wasted that. Then I put my other invisibility spell up here, trying to cover the archer tower, and then she was going to run away again, so then I triggered her ability, and then I was just like, this is terrible, this is like all going terribly. So she's still firing off her rocket spear, so I scooped her back up, And then everything else just kind of went poorly. But I think if I had kept my composure, I probably still could have come away with a triple on this one if I had used my overgrowth spell more appropriately. So the rest of this is playing out sort of the way you would have expected. The king is doing his thing around the outside. Snake bracelet, it's so strong. It really is. I've been saying that since the beginning, and people were telling me that it sucks. Frosty on the king is very helpful for letting him get further and further around the base. There's the mass of my troops, which we're used to seeing in these Root Rider-based attacks. And if I had used my overgrowth spell over here and taken the scatter shot and this builder hut, I actually think I probably would have tripled. But unfortunately, what ended up happening is because this builder hut and this air sweeper and this scatter shot were all here, my troops didn't get the most favorable deployment. My Archer Queen came back inside here to come after some of these buildings instead of running around the outside, where she probably would have gotten the Royal Champion and maybe dodged some of these things. I don't know. She got the monolith, so maybe that was also helpful, or maybe she wouldn't have got them. I don't know. But I did end up getting a 95% fail on this one because I just didn't have enough gas left to be able to get through it. The Barbarian King gave a very admirable showing, and he is chilling on the outside here, getting mowed down by that X-bow, where he eventually popped. Boop, there he goes, and he's done. And I know what you're thinking, but triple, if you had the Phoenix, he would have. Yeah, it wouldn't have gone. It happened. I missed that one. I had a good plan. I felt good about that plan. I'm going to show you one last attack. It was the final one for the final day. And I was thinking, coming down to the last two attacks, we needed a triple and a 2-star, or we needed two 2-stars that were high damage. And I was the second to last attack to go. Phantom got a 2-star, didn't get the triple, but I did manage to get the triple. I didn't send this plan to anybody. I thought, you know what? I'm going to wing it. Oh, if you see the notes on there, I said something about going out with a bang. So take a moment. I'm going to pause this. Take a moment and think about how you... Now, this is very heavily focused on the diamond bases. I got plenty of ring bases that I attacked also, which I'll probably do a separate video on using this army composition against ring bases. I have said that I have a preference for attacking behind the fire spitters, so you can probably guess that I'm going to try and log launcher through the town hall. I mentally said, you know what, I'm going to come in over here, and, you know, I could have come in on this side as well, but I thought, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know, maybe I'm more comfortable attacking on the left-hand side. But my thought was, get the wizard tower, get the ricochet cannon, invisibility on these things here, have her pick up the fire spitter, and then go get the town hall. Now, one of the things that's important when you're in range of the town hall only needs a microsecond, and it will fire at the Royal Champion. So you need to be essentially overlapping your invisibility spells. So we're going to run this one in half speed, just to show the timing. We come in here, we get the wizard tower, and the first of, and I know where the range is on the town hall because I looked at it ahead of time. So first invisibility spell comes in. She is working on, I'm going to speed this along a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we're in range of the town hall. The Spirit Fox was doing its invisibility thing, and I dropped the invisibility spell a little bit early. That way the Royal Champion would have overlapping coverage. As the one invisibility spell wears off, the next one is still running, and I did not want her to take any damage. So this is where you do things like, a lot of times when we're deploying the invisibility spell, what we do is we are deploying it at, say, like the Spirit Fox covers from 3 minutes down to 354. So you deploy it right before that, 354 or 254, and that's supposed to cover her to the 250. So basically, like, around the 4 mark is when you want the invisibility spell to hit, but when you're in range of the town hall, you probably want to do something like drop it at like 7 and 2, or maybe at 6 and 3, or 6 and 2, just something that can create that overlap. So I got the funnel I was looking for, and I made some kind of yay when I was making the attack because she did what I wanted. I did use the oh, I didn't show you that I did use, that's what I was saying, I've been using the invisibility spells to help redirect the Royal Champion, which is what I did here after she got the ricochet cannon down. I used the invisibility spell on the air defense and the multi-mortar just so that I would be able to redirect her toward the buildings that I wanted. And I'm telling you, practice, practice, practice. That is such a useful skill. Went ahead and dropped the Archer Queen a little bit on the outside here because I wasn't sure where she'd go, and I have had some attacks where, she shoots a giant arrow like into the nothingness over here. So got a decent giant arrow, did not get the town hall. I was a little nervous about the multi-mortar getting the log launcher at some point, so I did deploy a couple Valkyries over here. Ice Golem, Roots, Balloons, Healers, King coming down, I think up here, yep, up here on this army camp. 2 Barbarians, like I said, to help sort of create that funnel for him. He's going to run around the outside. The rest of my troops are kind of coming in sort of the way that I expected, and I definitely wanted to prevent the Crusher Mortar from putting a beating on my Roots on the backside of the attack. I used my heal spell a little earlier than I probably should have, but the idea was, you know, go cover through the first poison spell. And it's kind of sort of what I did. So I got a decent amount of healing going there to offset some of the damage that I'd be taking from the poison spell tower. I eventually did decide to use my overgrowth spell to cover the Crusher Mortar and this Builder Hut. I was actually thinking I want to leave the Monolith uncovered because I thought the Queen would get that, or the Royal Champion. I got a little bit of a split here, which is not normally ideal. Like, you kind of want the troops to all stay together. But at this point, I was kind of fist pumping, going, yeah, I got this. It's a triple, ending it on a good note. And again, you'll note I still have not used my Grand Warden's ability. I have made a lot of progress through this base. These troops can take a lot of damage. That's part of where the heal spell is actually super helpful. It can delay what would be the Grand Warden's Eternal Tome. So the Tornado Trap finally triggers, and I use my Eternal Tome, and again, I was celebrating because I knew this was going to work out the way that I expected it to. Then I started thinking, ooh, I can swag some stuff, which I did. I was able to save a freeze spell, an invisibility spell, and a poison. I will tell you, Mr. C uses a skeleton spell to help distract stuff on the Queen's entry into the base, whether that be from monoliths or ricochet cannons, just extra stuff to take some of the damage off the Queen and that giant. I said I feel more comfortable with 5 invisibility spells in my Royal Champion charge. I frequently only use 4, but there's something about the insurance of having that 5th one that makes me feel much more comfortable and lets me execute these attacks more effectively. I didn't mention any of the stuff I was supposed to mention in the beginning. Check out my podcast, Inside Clash with Trample Damage, and make sure to, of course, follow me here or subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on TikTok. And I do post challenge guides on Reddit as well. They're not covered with advertisements saying things like, use code TRAMPLE, but, you know, use code TRAMPLE. It's a good idea. The good guys, we did well. We didn't promote, though. It happens. It happens. Mr. C, though, rooting for them. They're going to be in the last chance qualifier coming up pretty soon here. MMG, I'll be rooting for him. Hopefully, we can have him come hang out when I'm in Atlanta for the World Championships in the end of October. I appreciate you guys taking the time to hang around. Hopefully you've learned something about attacking diamond bases with this awesome army here. And I am going to come back with another video to show you how to attack ring bases with this. I did tell Mr. C I'm not that confident in attacking box bases, and he said, oh my gosh, box bases are so super simple with this army comp. And in preparation last night, when I was making my attack here against Savage, or whatever that says, Sabaski, when I was prepping, I did get a couple friendly challenges, and 3 of the friendly challenges were box bases, and I tripled them all. So maybe it is a good army comp to use. Anyway, we will check you guys out on the next video.